Hi everyone, thank you so much for listening to this video, mainly because I think this particular work is so important. In the years of teaching channeling and doing loads of shadow healing, operations come up so much of the time. In particular, the problem of people when they're meditating suddenly going out of their body or zoning out or completely losing focus. And what my guides say this is mainly caused by is anesthetic in operations, either inherited from if your mother was given drugs when you were born, or if you've had operations even years before. Sometimes it can be inherited through the family line as well in the shadow. And this causes problems in connection, it causes numbness and zoning out and checking out in connection. And it can also come up a lot in shadow of like feeling disembodied, disconnected. And my guides are always telling people that like that's what needs to be cleared in order for it not to happen. And they also go on to explain that the reason it ends up in shadow is because obviously for the body, an operation is a huge thing, and especially if you're unconscious, the body doesn't get any of the processing that is meant that it would get if you were conscious. Now, of course, it's amazing that we don't have to go through the physical pain, and some operations can happen that wouldn't be able to happen if it wasn't for these medicines. But what the guys say, the most important thing is that you do the clearing after the operation. They also say if you are going to have an operation that it's really important that you let your body know that that's happening and spend some time visualizing what is going to happen so your body starts to prepare before you go in. And then this clearing should be done once the operation has started, once the body started to heal from the operation. So as soon as you're kind of feeling physically well enough to do this, that's the best time to do it. That said, I have done it on people like 25 years later, and it's amazing. They still get huge results. Very often people that don't feel like they're fully in their body, it's because this numbness energy, this anesthetic energy is stopping them being fully in their body, and so after it, they drop in. And the best thing about this is anybody can do it. It does take two people, and it does take two people in person. And I would advise that the person that you get to do this for you, you pick somebody that is a healer or works with energy or does body work and things like that, because it does require somebody's intuition. If you know the shamanic black and white stone healing, it is very similar to that. And first, what you do is you open the space, and you can do that in whatever way feels right for you, calling in the protection, opening up the directions, whatever feels right for you. Then you need two stones, and ordinary stones over crystals are actually better for this healing, because you're healing stuff that is vibrationally dead weight within you, and so these stones have kind of more magnetic resonance with that. And what you're using, what you're doing is you're asking the stones to pull out the energies that have been stuck in the body, the emotions, and whatever else the body needs to process through this huge ceremony that is the operation. And sometimes it's past life stuff and everything like that. So you prepare the stones, you connect to them, you open your heart, you ask them to help clear the numbness, the medicine, the trauma, anything else that is in the highest good to be cleared. Sometimes it can be nice to imagine one stone filled with the power of the earth and the alchemy of the earth, and one stone filled with the power of the sun and the sunlight, because what we're trying to do is bring the body fully back to life after it was put out or numbed. And so those two essences, you can call them into the stones. Then what you do is you make sure the person has set intention, and you literally follow your instincts of everywhere that the stones want to go in the body, and you massage, you rub the stones through the body, following your instinct. And this part is really, sometimes you move the stones, sometimes you're tapping the stones, sometimes you're just holding the stones there. What I find really, really effective with this particular clearing is to be in conversation with the person. So to be like, at the back of your heart, I can feel this like deep sadness. Can you feel that?
Yeah.
Yeah, and is there anything coming up for you about that that's coming up?
Tenderness.
Yeah. And is there anywhere that you'd like me to put the stones on your body?
Not particularly.
Okay, so if we work on the back right now and I start tapping, can you feel it releasing?
Yeah.
Yeah. And as I'm pulling it out, are there any memories or anything coming? Doesn't matter if they're connected to the operation or not.
Yeah, stuff from my parents.
Okay. There's a lot of, the stones also clear the lineages and the lines. And then as you're clearing, and it doesn't matter if it's emotional stuff and things that haven't been able to flow properly because this anesthesia has been recycling through your system. As you're clearing, you will get to the numbness layers. And then as you're clearing them, you just keep doing the same thing. You keep communicating, keep asking. Sometimes it feels like the stones get full, and that's where this is really similar to black and white stone healing, because if you tap them either together or tap them on the earth, you can release the energy out of them, pull it back in. And generally with an operation, I would say you will get to the like physical pain. Like, can you feel, I feel like there's fear here. Do you feel like that was connected to the operation? Yeah, and so can you just breathe that out now? Again, you can get the person to help you with it. Good. And sometimes if you connect to the sunstone, you might want to put some sunlight in as the earth energy is pulling out. And it will come to the point where it usually takes about an hour and a half, 2 hours to do this fully, because quite often an operation brings up loads of other things that also haven't been able to be processed, so you end up going into ancestral body and past life body. But there comes a point where you've worked nearly the whole of the body one way or another, wiping the stones, rubbing the stones, and you feel like it's done. You ask the person if is there anywhere else that you feel like you need this?
Oh, there's loads on the throat.
So we're clearing this on the throat now. And eventually there comes a point where it's like the person feels clear. And you've collected it all in the stones. And then what I do is I put the stones into Agua de Florida, and I just ask that any energy that doesn't serve or doesn't belong gets transmuted or sent wherever it is in the highest good for it to go. And I leave them soaking, and then give the person some Reiki, some love, and particularly helping the feeling of life to come back. Sometimes when you're doing this, you feel like the numbness is really stored in one area, and so like you need to support the body in not feeling numb anymore by sending love and life force energy through the person. You can also, at this point or when you're doing the stones, get the person to communicate with their body. So be like, is there anything that your body wants to say about this operation or to process? Is the body shocked? Do you have anything that your body actually wants to say at this stage?
I feel my heart tender.
And what do you think that tenderness is saying?
Lack of support.
And if you put some support energy in, would you say that's when you're going numb, when you feel lack of support? Because the numbness from the operation cycles back in at trigger points within us. So would you say that's what's been happening when this energy was still in here?
Yeah.
Yeah. And does it feel less like stuck now?
Yeah.
Good. And then once you've put all of the love and energy in, what I like to do, and you know, ceremony really works with the language of symbolism, but the body speaks the language of symbolism, so I like to do this as part of the ceremony, is just wrap the stone up in some salt and some rosemary, because rosemary is a really good medicine for things going back to the order of the earth. So the stone going back to the order of the earth, whatever energy, just returning to being a stone. And then I like to wrap it usually in black tissue actually, and give the stones to the person to go and bury, so that this whole journey of the ceremony, from the reason they had ceremony, the reason they had surgery, to what the body and the emotional body went through, to any ancestral stuff that's come up in the healing, to the problems with the numbness, everything coming to completion with the burying of these stones, that going into the earth, and then taking some time to like really feel the life force energy coming back into the self and the body, and feeling fully alive and restored. And then just giving some more time for you to process, for the person to process, and for the close to happen. Is that good? You happy?
Yeah.
Thank you for demonstrating. Thank you so much. I hope that's helpful. If you have questions, let me know.